Everybody okay? Remember your training, all right?
RNLI lifeboat crews are unpaid volunteers. They rescue 22 people every day. On a lifeboat, training is a matter of life and death.
It's been another wet and wild year for the Royal National Lifeboat Institution. There's been some extreme weather, but thanks to their courage, commitment and RNLI training, our lifesavers have risen to the challenges of the sea. Some volunteers choose to train for inland rescues too. It's April 2007 and the RNLI's flood rescue team face realistic swiftwater rescue training. A few months later, that training proves to be invaluable.
Well, we actually couldn't get here by car because of the flooding on the main road. We sort of came to the Fox here where the landlord Dave was actually already on the flat roof waiting for us.
It was just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, the amount of water that came through the pub and the surrounding areas.
We actually came in alongside this section of wall here.
I clambered onto the flat roof with the 3 dogs and the lifeboat pulled up alongside.
I suppose there is quite a very surreal achievement in a way. Just driving down the street outside of Worcester in a boat is quite bizarre at the start of your summer holidays.
You just don't believe it, you know, it's not true. All the stuff outside's getting swept away and up in the air. Spoken to the policeman and they eventually contacted the lifeboat and that's when they came down. It was quite a relief to actually think, well, we can be away from here, the dogs are safe and we're safe. They were our guardian angels. They looked after us and the dogs remarkably well. If they weren't there, what would have happened to us and people like us? I mean, you can only show your gratitude.
We, as in a nation, do need the RNLI. And after experiencing it firsthand, the calmness, professionalism, you know, makes you very humble, really, in a way.
The atrocious weather didn't stop people going to the beach. 2007 was still one of the busiest summers on record for our lifeguards, who attended 9,883 incidents. For the first time, they patrolled beaches in North Norfolk, and the local council are delighted with their work so far.
Safety cover was provided by the council in-house. Now it's been managed by the RNLI lifeguard service, and it's a much more professional operation. It's completely joined up with the RNLI lifeboats, and it's provided an extra professionalism, that one step up, really, a step change, and the support and the training has been superb. It's been so positive, you know, from members, from officers, from the public, that it's been a huge success.
And 300 miles away, some of Norfolk's more vocal RNLI supporters offered their own form of noteworthy support.
On a cold winter's night, with the storm at its height,
Wicklow lifeboat crew in the Republic of Ireland now save lives using a new D-class lifeboat, generously funded by a group of singing shantymen, all the way from Sheringham.
We've been enormous supporters of the RNLI for years and years and years, and we thought we'd buy a lifeboat, and we set out to raise the funds to do it. And it took 3 years to do it, and the RNLI decided to send it to Wicklow, and we were thrilled.
and we join in a silent prayer.
For these guys to give so much of their time and efforts and to raise the funds, and it's a considerable amount of money. You're talking almost 40,000 euros to equip and supply this boat. It's a huge commitment by them, and we're absolutely delighted to see them here to help us celebrate this fantastic day.
Carry them safely home on the
And also giving their stamp of approval were the crew of Barra, here helping to launch the Royal Mail's Rescue at Sea series of stamps, featuring 4 RNLI lifeboats.
Yeah, they're excellent, very good images, very professionally done by the photographers, and I'm quite impressed with them. It's really nice to see that for a change on the stamps. You see various things, but I didn't expect this at all, so it's a nice change.
Nigel Millard's dramatic photograph of Barrow's 7 class Edna Windsor was used for the set's first-class stamp, and similar scenes to this were seen at Appledore, St Ives and Tenby, whose boats also featured on the stamps. In Padstow, the new lifeboat station won a prestigious Civil Engineering Award in 2007. The new building casts an impressive shadow over its predecessor, but it was designed for a very functional purpose, to replace the old neighbouring boathouse and slipway in order to launch the new Tamar-class lifeboat. The judges of the British Construction Industry Award said the project was an exemplary case of good design, fit for purpose and well executed.
The builders have been excellent, the way they've worked with us and looked after the station here, kept it running, minimum of fuss. Any problems we've had with the design of the new place, they've gone out of their way to try and make it what we want. They've really tried to make it a place for people to work in, with the sight of what the end user wants, rather than, a design. They've decided what the people who are going to actually run the station need to get out of it. It's excellent. It's going to be a change for the better.
Another lifeboat crew welcoming vital new facilities were the volunteers at Whitby. Unlike their previous century-old building, their new station has its own drying and changing room, plus a well-equipped training space. And on a sunny day in September, the Duchess of Kent declared the new station open.
It was an absolutely fantastic day. She did us so proud. It was just, everything went really good, and had a really good crowd of people, and it was a great day for the town as well as for the RNLI.
On a very different day in November, a small boat with 3 people aboard capsized just outside the harbour entrance. The lifeboat crew were on scene within minutes.
Conditions on launch were very poor. There was a lot of fresh water coming down the harbour and a flood tide, and that combined with the northerly swell was causing the breakers to stand up very high. There were several of the breakers were level with the top of the upper steering position.
Over the radio there was a faint voice on 16, channel 16, that said Whitby lifeboat turn left. I replied to that transmission and asked them to identify themselves, and it was one of the watch officers that works for the harbour, and he then was able to point and direct us to the 2 mails that we picked up just to the west of the west extension, and it was very, very quickly executed. Nick just brought the boat round in a circle alongside. We recovered 2 persons, and as soon as we were out of the surf, CPR was administered within seconds.
The skill, courage and quick thinking of the lifeboat crew ensured that 2 of the 3 casualties were pulled out of the water, but sadly all 3 lost their lives.
The lads showed such a level of commitment to be on the deck working in those conditions. I was just absolutely gutted that it didn't have a better result, as well as obviously for the poor families of the casualties.
Further up the coast, in 1838, a young lighthouse keeper's daughter carried out a famous rescue. Grace Darling and her father rowed their Coble out to the survivors of the Forfarshire shipwreck. After careful conservation work on the Coble and an exciting construction project, the humble boat is now available for all to see at the Grace Darling Museum.
I declare this museum open.
Among those celebrating the official opening were 2 of today's RNLI heroines, bronze medalists Sophie Grant Crookston and Dr. Christine Bradshaw. And the RNLI's supporters of the future gave rousing support too. One of the most difficult parts of maritime search and rescue is finding the casualty. And each year 20 fishermen lose their lives around our coast. The introduction this year of a thoroughly modern device, the Man Overboard Guardian, has provided additional reassurance to those involved in the most hazardous industry in the world.
The Man Overboard Guardian, which it's been developed by the RNLI for the last 4 years, and it's a satellite-based confidential position reporting system, which also incorporates a man overboard system. So if a single-handed fisherman or crew go over the side, the Man Overboard Guardian will send an alert within 2 minutes to the RNLI ops room.
Now over 100 fishing boats have been equipped with the system.
As well as working as a skipper of a fishing boat, I'm also a second coxswain at Penny Lifeboat Station, and we hope that enough of this equipment will be in use shortly to assist us with the search of missing or overdue fishing boats or fishing persons, because we have had an odd instance where it's quite painful to be launched to people that you know and you have no idea where they are, but they're obviously so overdue that they're in some serious trouble. This will clarify their position, or last known position.
This is 109-year-old Harry Patch, the last surviving British infantryman of the First World War, naming a Relief D-class, the Doris and Harry, in Poole last summer. The remarkable veteran had helped to fund the boat, named in memory of his late companion, through sales of his biography, documenting his recollections of the Great War. RNLI supporters of all ages raised an astonishing £47.3 million in 2007. And there was no shortage of ingenuity shown on SOS Day. Using the letters SOS for inspiration, fundraisers arranged events using all parts of their bodies. All were expected to take part or face serious consequences. Even Neil Oliver, lead presenter of the BBC's Coast programme, took the plunge. And he wasn't the only famous face to lend support to the RNLI. SOS was a fun day for all, but there was a serious message. This year, our National Fundraising Day was held to coincide with our annual statistics. In 2007, lifeboats launched 8,141 times, rescuing 7,834 people. In total, 368 lives were saved, including 62 by RNLI lifeguards. Since RNLI lifeguards started in 2001, a remarkable 3,501 people have been rescued and many thousands more assisted. For Caroline Yard, a trip to the beach with her family could have ended in tragedy had RNLI lifeguards from Woolacombe not been there.
It was me and Angus, we decided to go surfing. It was all okay, and then it just changed really quickly, and we were quickly in a riptide, which was quite scary, yeah.
When the boys called out to me, I knew they were in trouble, because, you know, boys don't shout out for their mum at 14 and 16. And I knew then, you know, we needed help.
The fear started that we were nowhere near the sand. We were right in with the rocks and we were trying to fight it, and we couldn't really go anywhere, so yeah, it was quite scary.
At one point I couldn't see any of them, which was really scary. And I was just, you know, on the phone in tears. And, sorry. I called the Coast Guard, explained what had happened, and he told me to stay on the line, and I would see the rig come round the corner any second. When it came round the corner, I thought, oh, you know, they're here. Oh, I was so relieved. And it got to us in no time at all. And it sort of came directly in front of us and then straight in.
When the lifeguards came, it was relief more than anything, really.
If the lifeguards hadn't have been there, my boys had drowned that day.
This year, as every year, since 1824, the RNLI will be there. Our lifeboat crews and lifeguards putting life first. Whether on the beaches, out to sea, closer inshore, or inland. These are just a few of last year's thousands of call-outs, rescues, and of course the many fundraising events that enable us to go on saving lives at sea. All thanks to people like you.